What's up, everyone? I'm Scott,
And I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Carnage. My friend, how are you?
Oh man, it seems like it's been forever since we talked.
Oh, dude, I know. We missed last week's
We
recording. I'm
did
sorry.
miss
That's my
last
fault.
week.
Uh,
Everyone's schedule got crazy.
life is very busy with spring upon us, coaching baseball for a school. We had dance, we had plays, we had everything going on in the spring. So sometimes we just don't, we just can't get it done. And that's our fault, our bad. I'm sorry, but we're allowed to have lives too outside of the Liquid Carnage world. And I know some of you don't believe that, but it does happen from time to time.
Every once in a while, we don't have it happen often, but every once in a while we get a little busy, crazy, and we have
Yeah.
to kind of slow down a little bit and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. And it's wild. I switched jobs a few months ago, and it's been an adjustment for me because I feel like I spent the past decade having to prioritize a lot of work things over everything else, with public events and fundraisers. And the majority of my job took place on nights and weekends. And it made it hard to do some things, but in other respects, it made it easier to do other things because I knew when and where I had to be. So I either had a built-in excuse or a good reason not to do something.
Right.
So I don't know, man. It's hard as you get older. I think you find out too that sometimes you have to make those hard choices on what you want to do and how things are going to go. And that's kind of where last week was, between, uh, dance classes and play practices and baseball practices and whatnot. Spring just got the better of us. That's all.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. And sometimes it's hard because, there are things that we have to do and there's things that we want to do. And I don't
Yes.
remember how the line actually goes, but there's a great line in Gladiator, um, where the
Maximus.
main character is talking to his slave, and he said, "Do you ever get stuck in a quandary where you're forced to make a decision?" And he says, "Sometimes I do what I want to do, but the rest of the time I just do what I have to do." And I feel like that's what it is sometimes. Like I want to record, I want to, go have fun, watch movies, but sometimes I got to take care of business. I got to take care of the things that mean something.
Yeah. I mean, those bills aren't going to pay themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And it's this is it's a good reason to take a step back and kind of reevaluate things every so often too. When you get that busy, because your head starts to spin, you don't feel like you get a moment for yourself, and you realize you have to do something for you, otherwise you're going to go crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, and how often too we get wrapped up so much into the daily activities of life and work and kids that then we lose a little bit of the specialness of those times where we get to spend time with our loved ones, or the time at work where we appreciate that we have a great job or whatever it is. It just kind of gets blurred because we haven't given ourselves that time to like appreciate those things.
Yeah,
I think that's why
yeah,
going on vacation and where you go where you're disconnected is actually such a good thing, because it gives you that opportunity to say, you know what, I'm recharging, resending my energies out in different directions.
and I know you and Noreen are very good about that. You guys are very good about taking vacations and disconnecting, and that's something Janice and I are not good at. But I think that's a lot to do with just the different stages in our life, though, too.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have young kids that we have to take care of all the time, and coordinate activities with young kids is a lot different than coordinating activities with just an adult couple.
Yeah, it's got its challenges. Like we're coming down to Phoenix in a couple weeks for the Tillman run, and having to coordinate, switching weekends, with the girls' dads and everything just to make that happen is a whole different, you know, type of prioritizing versus, hey man, it's cool. You guys are off, we're off. Let's go have a beer. Let's go take off to, this place and enjoy a play for the evening. It's got you need some more preparation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's always fun to hang out with the kids and enjoy those times because they do go by really, really fast. But on the other side, it doesn't give you really a chance to focus on enjoying some time for yourself. I
Yeah.
kind of equate it to we have elderly parents. And while we love hanging out with our elderly parents, when you have elderly parents, it's not like you can just let them go and they do their thing. You have to kind of babysit them just like you would. So you take them on vacation and they appreciate it, and you get to spend time with them. But on the other side, it's taking care of someone. So, it doesn't give you
Hmm.
that break of saying, I don't want to take care of anyone but myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And that drags out, man. That's trying to get all that lined up and laid out. That can be really exhausting. Trying to get, uh, just schedules to line up and having that perfect, I guess it's just a perfect schedule to where, you have it all figured out to where you can take them on vacation and get some time for them and with them. And then, you have to get some you time too. And like when you need some time for you, Jason, like what do you do? Like how do you even get that anymore? Or do you try to get some just time to go do what you want to go do by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I don't do it as much as I probably should. And I'm not sure why that is, because it's not a thing of, well, if I leave, then Noreen gets upset because I'm not around, or vice versa. I think that one of the things that I do take some time to do is I just go out on the back patio. And if it's
Hmm.
nice out, whether it's nice out or not, I'll have a cigar and listen to some music or listen to an audio book and just kind of chill. And I do that because I know that Noreen will not come out there when I'm smoking a cigar. So I know that that's kind of my time to do that. Now, that being said, do you ever get that guilty feeling like, yeah, I'm enjoying myself, but I feel like I'm taking away time from people who also need my time?
Yeah, I do get that every so often, and it's a fine line for me because everyone's always so busy running around. I've gotten to the point now where if everyone's busy, I don't have a problem taking time for me. I'll ask you a few times if you need me to run some errands or drop off, pick up kids and whatnot. And if not, and everyone's handled, I'll go just take some time. It's not a big deal. But I also am one of those people that finds great joy in grocery shopping.
Okay.
So I consider that my personal time too, where I'm out just even if I'm just wandering from aisle to aisle. I can't online shop. I need to physically go grocery shopping because it helps me unwind. It gives me my own perspective.
And I find that where I struggle is taking time to just do nothing and relax or do something I want to
Hmm.
do versus taking time to be productive and accomplish something that needs to be done but I put off. Because there is
Yeah.
something to be said about, okay, I have all this time. I'm going to do this project that I want to get done. I've wanted to get done for a long time. And, be a productive time for myself where I may not enjoy it as much as sitting around doing what I want to do, but I accomplish something.
Yeah.
Like, how do you balance that for yourself? Like, when do you say, okay, I'm going to do something that's just for me, but I'm not going to really accomplish anything, like, go to Chili's, watch the football game, versus I'm going to do something, take some time for myself, but accomplish something.
Uh, for me, I have to prioritize that like, usually the night before, like, or if a couple days leading up to it. So like, we'll just use football as an example. So if I know I'm going to spend a couple hours at, the bar watching the football game on Sunday, I will make sure I'm knocking out everything I can on Saturday or even Sunday morning, making sure the things I promised to get done are getting done. So I know I have the time to go do what I want to go do.
Okay.
So for me, it's just planning ahead. I have to just make sure it all gets done. And sometimes, things come out of the blue and you can't always dictate that or control that. So you just have to kind of go with the punches. But, more times than not, I would rather get all the work done first and be able to relax on the back end. I can't do it the other way around.
Yeah, like you can't procrastinate. You're not a procrastinator.
Not when it comes to stuff I know I need to do,
Yeah.
chores like grocery shopping. Like, and I'm like that way at work too. I'll make sure I go and I get all the things done first I need to get done. And, I'd rather be busy on the front end of the day. That way I've got time at the back end to start other projects, work on the things that I've been putting in a holding pattern, just things like that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. How are you on this? Because this has changed a lot for me. When I was younger and I used to go on vacation, I felt like a pressure to try to do as much activity as I possibly could in the time I was gone, so that I felt like I made good use of vacation time.
Yeah.
Now I've gotten to the point where, like, we went to Hawaii last, what, a year ago. And while we did a couple of days activities, we did a lot of doing nothing, sitting on a
Yeah.
beach and reading a book, or, going to, Lahaina and just walking around the shops and doing a lot of nothing. And I find
Yeah.
that I need to balance that more, because there's so much pressure to, oh, I got to do this, I got to see this, or I just wasted my time over here.
I feel like that for me, that depends on where I go on vacation. I feel like if it's someplace I've been a few times, like when we would go to Temecula, the wine country, whatever else, the first, time or two, it's all right. We know we have to go here. We have to go here. We have a certain amount of time to go do all the things before we have to go back to reality. The last one, which I guess, oh my, it was 4 years now since the last time we've gone, but that last time, I'd say it was more evenly split between, you know what, we're at a resort, there's pools, everything we need is here. Let's just hang out and enjoy ourselves. We'll get to that stuff like the wine tastings and the beach and everything else, but let's just hang out today by the pool, or relax under a tree, go play some golf, do whatever you got to do. And I think that mind shift, because we've been there enough, I think makes it easier to relax.
Do you have any, like, how do you choose a location to go travel to or go on vacation?
I'm terrible at it. I know where I want to go. And I know there's always new places I want to try to go, but I'm just terrible at taking vacation. I'll be the first one to admit it. Because in the past it's been just me. So, we have friends that would go to New Orleans for Halloween. So they'd open it up and I'd tag along on that because, the destination's already picked and it sounded cool. I've gone a couple places by myself just randomly and it's all right. But in the past, it's been a problem, just to take that time. Janice, I'm lucky, I guess, in the respect that she's just as bad at this as I am, taking time off. So we both promise and swear we're going to take time off, but we're terrible at it. But this year, we're actually making a conscious effort to take a couple different vacations to get away and actually give us a chance to recharge and not fry ourselves.
Yeah, one thing that Noreen and I have gotten into the habit of doing the last couple years is, for we don't do anything for Christmas for each other anymore, and then we do something for birthdays, but usually it's a trip somewhere. Like,
Hmm.
one of the other person plans the birthday trip for the person that is their birthday. So this is the first time that I'm actually planning one of the trips, and I've done it completely on my own. I didn't get any help from her. I planned everything, coordinated the housing and the activities, and I'm like you. It's a little bit hard for me because while I love to go on vacation, I'm not really good on planning it. I'm not really good on justifying paying the money for it. It's kind of like I have to really push myself. Well, this has now kind of forced it on us to say, hey, no, that's her birthday present, is a trip somewhere. Doesn't matter how long, but you plan a trip. And what I found is that I really enjoyed it because the trip is completely paid for. Like, there's nothing on credit. It was all cash. And it's going to be a fun long weekend for us. And it kind of forces me to get out of my comfort zone to coordinate that. So I'm kind of happy, and it makes me want to do bigger trips in the future because Noreen is really
Yeah.
good. She is really good about picking the location and picking, getting a really nice home for us. Like, she does a thing with her boys where every year she plans a trip where it's us and her boys and, their wives or girlfriends and Jameson, and we go off as a family somewhere. And
Yeah.
she covers the entire cost of it. So the kids basically just have to show up. But she's done that now 3 years in a row, and she really gets a kick out of it. And she's really good at it though too. She's really
Well, yeah,
fun.
but Noreen's really good at a lot of things. Planning parties, planning weekends. She's just great at planning, and I think when you're great at planning, it makes things like vacations easier because she does the research. You can get excited because you sense her excitement when she finds the thing, she starts reading about it and whatnot. And I've seen and experienced it firsthand. So I can see why it's amazing for you guys to be able to have those adventures because she's very detail oriented with her plans when it comes to vacations. And I'm a little jealous and envious of that for the record.
Yeah, no, it's pretty impressive. And as a result, I've slowly started to learn to be better about planning some trips like this. I think the other thing that she's noticing, and you kind of mentioned on it earlier, is she's starting to get to that point in work where she is putting in longer and longer days. Longer and
Yeah.
longer days and more stress. Like, we record sometimes in the evening, 6:30, 7 o'clock. She's not home from work yet. I think she's starting to recognize something that many of us don't, which is I need to take care of myself. I need to take care of myself. It's too easy to say, well, I have so much work. I can't take time away. Oh, it's too expensive. I can't give myself a vacation. And so she's starting to learn that. You guys sound like you're starting to learn that too. Like, it's what's the point of getting all vacation time and having good money coming in if you don't ever use it?
Oh, that's exactly it. And I think from my end that's there's a mindset my parents put in my brother and I, and it's the exact opposite of take the money on the vacation and go on the vacation. You need to save some money because you never know if you're going to get fired tomorrow, and that has resonated on me since I've started working. And when you remember the summer, Scott, in
Yeah.
2009.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, had I not saved and I not had a severance package, that would have been a whole different experience. So that too has also dictated how I've spent money taking vacations over the years. But I think being able to find that balance is big. And I have a new boss, and I was talking to him about his philosophy on this randomly one day while we were out checking out different offices and whatever else. And he said, there's gonna be a lot of days where I'll come in early and I'll work late. I'll put in 14, 15 hour days because I want to stack as much as I can on those days. But the day or two after that, if I've got family stuff going on, I'm gonna go do stuff with my family because that's more important, and I'd rather do that. So I'll be here, normal 8 hour days, but some days I'm gonna work longer to knock a bunch of stuff out, and I'll do the day after that to go do the stuff I want to go do with my family. And you guys will just have to figure it out, and I respect it.
Are you a person that needs to see new places when you travel?
I'd like to.
I mean,
I also
versus
like to
some
know.
people go to the same place every year. Like I had friends that went to Cabo San Lucas every 2 weeks in May every year. They went to the same place every year. They never really ventured out, mainly because they got very comfortable. They loved the location. They loved the hotel they had a timeshare at, and that's just where they stayed.
I, it's hard for me to say, because we grew up going to my aunt's house in Colorado every summer. Looking back, it's because it was you save on hotel rates. You're just paying for the travel when you're staying with family out there like that. But I went to New Orleans for a couple of years for a couple Halloweens and New Year's and whatever else. It was a lot of fun. But you go to places like that, there's always something new to do. So it's not like, well, we have to go eat at this bar on this day and, play on this golf course or go make sure we take this cooking class. It's like, hey, let's go see what we can find. There's other things we can do because of those bigger cities. There's always more activities popping up or things that you just haven't had a chance to do yet. So I think it's kind of a combination for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I find myself like there's some cities that I would go back to in a heartbeat, but I find myself that I like going to places I've never been before.
Yeah.
But like I went to like my birthday present last year from Marine was from my 50th was New Orleans, and I'd never been there before. And I just had a wonderful time there. And the only thing I could think of is, gosh, I wish I could have seen more of it because we were there for a long weekend. And, I got enough to see Bourbon Street and that kind of stuff, but I would love to have seen some of the other parts of New Orleans that
Yeah.
make it such a special city.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I got with that. It's the first time you're clearly going to do the partying and all the Bourbon Street stuff, but as you spend some more time there, you find the other things that you like to go do or you want to go try. And there's so many different cultures in our country alone where you just need time to explore it and just absorb that. I'd like to get back east. I think going to New England would be a lot of fun to get some time up in the Boston area and see the leaves change in October. That's always sounded fun for me, and it's something that we've talked about trying to do. But sometimes just getting your schedule to coordinate is hard.
Yeah, well, and especially when you're getting pulled in, a bunch of different directions.
Yeah.
Have you ever met someone when you talk to them that they do not travel to certain places because they fear something bad might happen to them?
Oh yeah. My dad's still paranoid about Mexico.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the one
probably
I
for
hear
good
the
reason, yeah,
most
but
is, oh, I won't go to Mexico. It's just so dangerous. It's so dangerous. And it's like, really? Mexico? Every experience I've ever been in Mexico has been a wonderful experience. The people have been so nice, so, so
well,
friendly, so giving, and
that's that's also the law enforcement side of them too, where they're more focused on where they hear all the bad stuff. And I finally had to tell my dad. It's probably a couple years ago now. I was talking about going back down there, and I said, when you go to the Cabos or the Cancuns, it's really not as bad as they make it out to be because they are owned by the cartels, and the cartels don't want to drive out a lot of their revenue sources, because those resorts are laundering their money essentially. So they're going to keep that as clean and as hospitable as they can to keep the tourists coming through because they know what they have there.
yeah. Maybe so. Because, I mean, for people who have not been to Cabo San Lucas, it's about American as Mexico can be. I mean, they speak better English than I do. That's my joke. They
Yeah.
speak better English than I do. So if you ever want to start with Mexico light, if I call it that, go to Cabo San Lucas. Because
Yeah.
it's very, very, very easy to get around. Everyone speaks English. Everyone's going to give you a party. But I've never, until recently, I've never thought there was a place that I would not go to because of the danger. Um,
Hmm.
you know, Obviously, I would love to still see Moscow and St. Petersburg, but I probably will not go in the immediate future just because I
Yeah.
just don't need to see it that badly right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
But there's a lot of places in the world that I would love to go see, like Machu Picchu. I would love to go see Machu Picchu, but Peru right now is having protests, and they're
Well, they,
having
they
their
shut
own
that
issue.
down too. You can't go see Machu Picchu anymore.
Oh, they've closed it off?
Yeah, I was reading they closed it off to preserve it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense though, because the Machu Picchu. Well, you can walk. You can't go into Machu Picchu, but you can see. Like you can walk the trail to see it and take pictures. You just can't go in it.
I don't know. I think that I'm thinking that they cut off the trails too, and they just stopped all access to it.
Oh, okay.
I could have I could be wrong. I swore I read that a while ago that they were gearing up toward that, but maybe it was more along the lines of what you were thinking. But
one place I still would love to go to, and I had the opportunity. That they had a way to go, but COVID hit. Is I would love to go see Cuba. I know it's on the enemy's list, and we can't go over there. But I would
I
love to
thought they
see
opened that
Cuba.
up. I thought they opened that up.
Nope, they closed it again because they put it on the no travel list again.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
huh.
yeah. It's
Well,
I
just
know
goes to
we had it
show.
there for
Yeah.
a few years and people were going. Now, maybe it's for the United States because there's a lot of people that are Europeans that come to Cuba all the time and never get. So maybe what you have to do is fly over to Europe and then fly in to. Um,
to,
no,
to, to Cuba.
yeah, maybe I don't know how it works, but
I had a friend that actually spent a lot of time in Cuba, and he said what he did was he flew to Mexico and then hopped over from Mexico.
okay.
And so that's what most Americans would do that had to go over there. So it was
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that the best part is that as you get older, like even your parents, they may not travel a lot, but they travel quite a bit internally, within the United States or drive around and stuff. So, I mean,
Oh
they
yeah.
travel too.
Well, my dad won't fly unless he absolutely has to. So international travel's pretty much out. But they take their RV every summer to go see my aunts and uncles and hang out with them. So it's good they can do those things. You know, Janice and I keep talking about the different places we want to go and trying to find the time. I'd like to go see the Outer Banks of North Carolina. You know, I'd like to spend some time in Puerto Rico. We're hopefully have an opportunity to get to the Virgin Islands this year, so we're working on that. So there's
Oh,
always
yeah.
things,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of just doing it. And that's hard. And for me, the hardest part, I'll fully admit, it's parting with the money. I like seeing my bank account get to a certain point because it's a very proud moment for me. And then to see it go back down, even though it's for a good reason, still painful.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing that Noreen has taught me is that she always looks at it not as a financial but as the experience. Like anytime she's ever done something special for the group, she didn't look at, oh, it's going to cost me this much money. It was always, man, I'm going to put together an experience. For a perfect example, we went out a couple years ago with Steve and Elena, which are friends of our good buddy Dean and Danielle. We went out to dinner with them for Christmas, and the place we went to is it was a really nice restaurant at the Scottsdale airport. It was just a really nice Scottsdale airport. Well, at the time, the musician who was doing the music for the group was also a helicopter pilot. And during their break, he would give tours around Camelback Mountain and back, show you Camelback and Phoenix and Scottsdale and do like a little loop tour. And, there was a price tag to go with it. And Noreen didn't even hesitate. She goes, I'm doing it. And we all went on a helicopter ride, impromptu, and it was expensive. I thought it was pretty expensive, but she said it's the experience. That's how we did it. And I think that the people who can prioritize their lives by saying, you know what, some things are worth more than the money. The money is just the tool to get exchange for this experience or this memory or this adventure. The people who do that well, they do have some pretty colorful lives.
That's very true. They do. And it's always enjoyable to see them, have fun doing those things. And we all find different joy doing different things, but I can admire the people that just cut and go and do that. Our EP's pretty good about doing that sometimes too. He seemed to have found that balance. I just have a hard time with it. I think just from PTSD from past experiences.
No, I get it. No, I totally get it. It's like you said, you're starting to learn, okay, I do need to prioritize, because if I get stretched too far, it may not come back. You know what I mean? So you gotta make sure that elasticity of your body and your mind and whole and spirit and everything gets reset from time to time.
That's very true. So we want to hear from you guys as we wrap up today's show. How do you prioritize? What's something you do to keep your life in balance? We want to hear about it. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. If you have any springtime activities for our EP, Tom, in the Denver metro area, we want him to hear about it. Hit him up on Instagram and Twitter at liquid_EP.
Well, hey, let's not make it a habit of taking 2 weeks off, though. So we need to do better about prioritizing that too, because not only do our listeners enjoy it, but we enjoy it. We enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. So that being said, Jason, take us home.
Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. Welcome back. We really appreciate you all. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always,